Hello and welcome to Express News again. I'm Abhishek. In the next half an hour, we'll give you all the updates and the latest stories. Let's start with our top story. Rajasthan High Court resumes hearing on the Speaker's notice against the Sachin Palant camp. The hearing on a writ petition filed by Sachin Palant and 18 other dissident Congress MLAs from Rajasthan challenging the disqualification notices issued to them by the State Assembly Speaker resumed in the High Court on Monday. Chief Justice Indrajit Mahanti and Justice Prakash Gupta are hearing the matter. The court's ruling is likely to decide the Speaker's action against rebel MLAs and also pave way for the special session of Rajasthan Assembly. Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot has been claiming that he has the support of enough MLAs to prove his party's majority in the House. According to the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, the active cases in India are 3,90,459. Medical attention is being provided to all active cases, either in home isolation or in hospitals for severe cases. 7,86,000 people have been cured or discharged so far. Death toll stands at 27,497. The difference between recovered and active cases is progressively growing. It stands at 3,09,627 today. The focus efforts of central and state, union territories governments on efficient clinical management of hospitalized cases have ensured that India's case fatality rate has come down to 2.45%. Human trials of Indian vaccine begins. The All India Institute of Medical Sciences begins conducting clinical trials of the indigenously developed COVID-19 vaccine candidate Covaxin from today. AIIMS Director Randeep Guleria said phase 1 of the vaccine trial will be done on healthy people aged 18 to 55 years who have no comorbidity. A total of 1,125 samples have been collected, of which 375 will be studied in first phase, and in second phase 750 people will be recruited between 12 to 65 years. AIIMS Director Randeep Guleria said there is not much evidence that there is community transmission happening at national level, but there are hotspots even in cities where there is spike of cases, and it is very likely that local community transmission in those areas is happening. Over 2,000 people have contacted AIIMS for human trials. Some of those who have applied have been called today for the health checkup. The emphasis, however, remains on safety and screening, with ICMR scientists keeping a constant vigil on the matter. 2 vaccines developed in India were given approval for human trials by the DGCI. AIIMS New Delhi has started a video consultation program with ICU doctors across the country called eICU. The program aims at holding case management discussions among doctors who are at the front line in treating COVID-19 patients in hospitals and COVID facilities around the country. In the fight against COVID-19, the Punjab National Bank is distributing free masks and hand sanitizers to people through branches across the country under the Corporate Social Responsibility campaign. Union Health Minister Dr. Harshvardhan inaugurated the Punjab National Bank's nationwide CSR campaign to fight COVID-19 pandemic virtually. And speaking on the occasion, Union Minister said that the battle against COVID-19 can be won only by taking everyone along. The latest testing strategy of ICMR allows all registered medical practitioners to recommend testing. Press conference of All India Institute of Medical Sciences, where Dr. Randeep Guleria, AIIMS Director, briefing on the human trials of COVID-19 vaccine Covaxin, and said that if everything goes well, then in the next 2-3 months we should be able to go to the next stage. When vaccine comes, we will have to prioritize, can't be given to everybody. Corona warriors, frontline warriors, healthcare workers will get the vaccine first. And also, simultaneously, we are working on the manufacturing. As soon as we are sure that this is the vaccine, it's safe, the manufacturing will start the next day. And he also talked about the immunity. According to the Indian Council of Medical Research, 1,40,47,908 samples have been tested for COVID-19 so far, of which 2,56,039 were tested yesterday. In Uttar Pradesh's Lucknow, lockdown has been imposed in 4 regions of the city till July 24th. All localities falling under the jurisdiction of the Ashiana, Indiranagar, Sarojini Nagar and Ghazipur has been turned into containment zones. Lucknow has been witnessing an unprecedented rise in the number of coronavirus cases, with over 200 cases reported in less than 24 hours. In Pune, a comprehensive 2-phase lockdown has started from July 13 and will continue till July 23rd in an attempt to break the chain of the coronavirus infections. In Pune, the 10-day lockdown will go in 2 phases. Grocery stores, retail and wholesale stores, wholesalers selling essential items reopen from 8 am to 12 pm after being shut for the first 5 days in phase 1 of the lockdown. E-commerce delivery has also been allowed. In Kerala, the entire Thiruvananthapuram corporation continues to be under strict lockdown up to the midnight of 28 July in view of COVID-19. As COVID cases are on a rise, complete 10-day lockdown was declared in the coastal regions of Thiruvananthapuram district from July 18th. Only emergency services are permitted in the region. The coastal regions of the district, including Puthura and Puluvilla, where community spread is being confirmed, is divided into 3 critical containment zones. In Arunachal Pradesh, total 8 residential buildings, including a prayer center of Itanagar capital region, have been identified and declared as containment zone. The state, in the highest single-day spurt, registered 90 new COVID-19 cases during last 24 hours, taking its total number active cases to 455. Of the new cases detected in the last 24 hours in 8 districts, 56 are from Itanagar capital region. While 282 patients have recovered and discharged, 3 people lost their lives in Arunachal so far. In Bihar, a 3-member multidisciplinary team is today visiting Gaya to take stock of the COVID-19 situation. The team is visiting Anugrah Narayan Medical College in Gaya and other centers where testing and treatment of COVID-19 is being done. The state government yesterday announced that 8 testing centers have become operational in Gaya, where on-demand COVID testing is available free of cost. The Supreme Court on Monday asked the Uttar Pradesh government to consider adding a former Apex Court judge and a retired police officer in the inquiry committee which is probing the encounter of gangster Vikas Dubey. The top court also said it was appalled that the gangster got bail despite so many cases against him. Supreme Court today dismissed petitions seeking protection of artifacts around Ram Janmabhoomi site. The PILs had sought digging up of Ram Janmabhoomi site and protection of artifacts. The Apex Court called the petitions frivolous and imposed a fine of ₹1 lakh each on 2 petitioners. The Central Industrial Security Force conducted an e-passing out parade of 33rd batch of Assistant Commandant and 45th batch of Sub-Inspectors and 1st batch of Assistant Sub-Inspector at Hyderabad. The newly inducted officers were at the Forces Academy at Hyderabad for the webinar passing out parade. MOS Home G. Kishan Reddy reviewed the parade through webinar from his office. Union Minister G. Kishan Reddy said that the CISF plays an important role in making India self-reliant. In Varanasi, a center of KVIC at Sevapuri is running a pottery camp for the migrant workers and training them in making earthen lamps, sculptures of deities and other pottery items. This initiative by the MSME Ministry is providing employment to migrant workers. Border Road Organization is playing vital role in constructing roads along higher reaches of Pir Panjal range. The road will connect Rajouri to Budhal by a 54-kilometer highway. Construction activities has helped in providing jobs and will promote new businesses along the highway. After completion, this highway will connect remotest areas and will connect 85 villages along highway. The flood scenario in Assam remains unchanged. 5 more people have lost their lives in the last 24 hours, which has increased the death toll to 84. With 26 deaths due to landslide this year, the deaths due to floods and landslides total 210 this season so far. In Bihar, the flood situation has further deteriorated following incessant rains since last night. Catchment areas of Bagmati, Ganga, Gandak, Burhi, Gandak and their tributaries received moderate to heavy rains during past 24 hours. Due to this, the water level of these rivers has again started to rise in several districts. The situation is grim in Darbhanga, Sitamarhi, Muzaffarpur, Champaran and adjoining areas. In all, the flood has affected a population of over 3 lakhs in about 153 villages in 50 subdivisions spread over 8 districts of the state, of which Darbhanga is worst affected, where a population of over 150 lakh have got affected due to floods. Met Office has predicted medium to heavy rainfall in Siwan, Saran, Sitamarhi, Vaishali, Patna, Darbhanga and Muzaffarpur. Cloudburst and heavy rains have wreaked havoc in Pithoragarh's Munsiari region, leaving 3 people dead. Besides, at least 11 people are reportedly missing after the cloudburst in Taka village of Munsiari and Gera village of Bangapani in Pithoragarh district. Uttarakhand Chief Minister Trivendra Rawat has instructed Pithoragarh district magistrate that there should not be any laxity in relief and rescue work. He has also asked to provide relief amount to the affected people. State Disaster Response Force along with other teams and locals are conducting rescue operation in the area. Delhi police has registered another complaint against Gurpatwant Singh Pannu of the banned Khalistani terrorist organization 6 for Justice. Pannu has been accused of instigating people of Sikh community. He even released a video for the same. The coronavirus has claimed the lives of over 6,06,000 people worldwide, while over 1.45 crore has contracted the infection so far. The US and Brazil remain worst affected in terms of COVID-19 infections and fatalities. The US has so far recorded over 37.73 lakh cases and over 1.40 lakh deaths. Also, Brazil has crossed the 20 lakh mark and recorded over 20.98 lakh infections and over 79,488 deaths. And also talking of a death toll worldwide, US and Brazil are followed by the UK with over 45,385 fatalities, further followed by Mexico, Italy and France. For the second day in a row, the World Health Organization reported a record spike in global COVID-19 cases with over 2.59 lakh new cases in the last 24 hours. Most of the new cases were reported from the US, India, Brazil and South Africa. The fatalities rose by 7,360, the biggest single-day spike in deaths since May 10th. Deaths have been rising on an average of 4,800 a day in the month of July. As of Sunday, more than 14.3 million coronavirus infections have been recorded worldwide. The United States reported over 60,000 new COVID-19 infections in 24 hours, bringing the nationwide count to over 37 lakh. According to the data from the Johns Hopkins University, the national death toll from the disease rose to over 1.40 lakh. The country is losing approximately 5,000 people every week. Florida reported 12,478 new positive COVID-19 cases in a single day, adding the total of confirmed cases in Florida to 3,50,047 with 4,982 deaths. It is the 4th day that the state saw its single-day increase of COVID-19 infections, surpassing 12,000 cases. Brazil registered 23,529 new confirmed cases of coronavirus and 716 new deaths on Sunday. Total cases in Brazil, the world's second most affected country after the United States, have now risen to over 20 lakh, while deaths total 79,488. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson has likened the imposition of a second nationwide coronavirus lockdown to a nuclear deterrent that he would rather not use. In an interview with an English daily to mark his 1 year at the Downing Street Johnson said he did not think the UK would need another complete shutdown in the event of a second wave of coronavirus infections. Britain has been coming out of lockdown in phases, with the UK PM issuing a back-to-work call as he handed local councils greater powers to impose localized shutdowns earlier this week. Australia's coronavirus hotspot, Victoria State, will enforce a mandatory face cover rule in view of rising new coronavirus infections in the state. Victoria reported 363 new COVID-19 cases and 3 deaths in the last 24 hours. Victoria is currently struggling with the second wave of coronavirus cases that has taken the state's death toll to 38 as of Sunday and the national toll to 122. Australia has recorded about 11,800 cases of COVID-19, a fraction of what has been seen in other countries or even some US states, but an outbreak of community transmission in Victoria has been growing, prompting authorities to restrict social distancing. Nigerian Foreign Minister Geoffrey Onyema has said he had tested positive for COVID-19 and became the first member of President Muhammadu Buhari's cabinet to contract the new coronavirus. Onyema said on Twitter he had taken a COVID-19 test because of a throat irritation. EU leaders stood at an impasse on Sunday after 3 days of haggling over a plan to revive economies throttled by the COVID-19 pandemic. The chairman of the summit urged 27 leaders of the European Union to make one last push on Mission Impossible. Hong Kong leader Carrie Lam told a news conference that the city recorded more than 100 cases in the past 24 hours, the most since the pandemic took hold in late January, taking the tally close to 2,000 patients, 12 of whom have died. Cuba said it has recorded its first day of zero new coronavirus cases in 130 days on Sunday. The head of epidemiology at the Ministry of Public Health and who has updated the country daily on the pandemic took off his mask during the national broadcast for only the second time deliver the good news. Syrian parliament elections polls closed on Sunday after a long day of voting in order to elect 250 parliamentarians. People voted across government territory at more than 7,000 polling stations, including for the first time in former rebel bastions that the army has recaptured over the last 2 years. In Syria, due to the coronavirus pandemic, polling staff wore masks, checked voters' temperature and ensured they stayed at a distance while lining up for the vote. In Syria, the elections originally set for April were postponed twice due to the coronavirus pandemic. More than 1,600 candidates, many prominent businessmen, competed on Sunday for 250 MP seats in the third such election since the conflict erupted in 2011. The results are expected by Tuesday. Moving further, a dominant Lewis Hamilton seized the lead of the F1 World Championship for the first time in the 2020 season with his second win in a row and a record-equaling 8th on the same circuit at the Hungarian Grand Prix. But Max Verstappen remarkably denied Mercedes another 1-2 finish after holding off Valtteri Bottas for second place. Hamilton was in a league of his own up front all afternoon and could even afford a late stop for fresh tyres to try and take the bonus point for the fastest lap, which he duly secured on the final tour for the maximum 26 points. An explosive spell from Stuart Broad on the fourth evening kept alive England's hopes of winning the second test against West Indies at Emirates Old Trafford. After Saturday's washout at Emirates Old Trafford, England woke on Sunday morning needing to take 19 wickets in 2 days. Stuart Broad revived England's hopes of a series-levelling victory with a trio of new ball wickets even as the West Indies avoided the follow-on. The veteran paceman took 3 wickets for 1 run and 14 balls as the West Indies were dismissed for 287 on the fourth day in reply to England's first innings of 469 for 9 declared. England were not able to enforce the follow-on, but Joe Root signalled his intentions by sending out Ben Stokes and Josh Buttler to open the second innings. They quickly lost Buttler and Zach Crawley, but by the close of the day, four had extended their lead to 219. All eyes will turn to England's declaration and whether they give themselves enough time to take their second new ball lead on the final day if needed. Football now. Chelsea will play Arsenal in an all-London FA Cup final after beating Manchester United 3-1 at Wembley on Sunday, aided by David Dea's shocking errors behind the bar to gift goals to Olivier Giroud and Mason Mount either side of half-time. The Spanish international drafted into the United team in place of Sergio Romero endured a nightmare evening in the semi-finals. His first mistake came in the 11th minute of first half injury time as he allowed Olivier Giroud's flick to beat him at his near post to put Chelsea 1-0 ahead. Worse was to follow at the start of the second half. Diving to his left, Diaz let Mason Mount's long-range strike go through his gloves. United's abject misery was complete when captain Harry Maguire diverted Marcos Alonso's cross into his own net with 16 minutes left. Bruno Fernandes pulled a goal back from the penalty spot, but it could not even be described as a consolation as Chelsea closed out the win. Well, that's all we have in Express News. Stay tuned for more news and updates. Namaskar.